Alright, so we've got two engine bay panels for the 37 Chrysler Imperials, and we have the panels that were being used in the cars, or well, in one of the cars, the other one didn't have one. This is out of a coupe of the same year, or sorry, a sedan out of the same year, I believe. So we're attempting to eliminate this dip down and this pill-shaped hole with a flange, keep the rest, keep it nice and factory, as close as possible. So we've got these two little teardrop beads that we're going to attempt to recreate as best we can by making a hammer form out of some hardwood, and I'll use another hardwood post to kind of carve a chisel out of it and just kind of hammer form it in, hopefully without having to use a power hammer or a air hammer, sorry. And so these are the two layouts that I have. They're cut in fairly nice. I'll have to readjust a couple lines here and there. As you can see, what I'm about to do is line them up, and I've left extra on all the bends so that I have a little bit of metal to work with in the box brake and can get a good grab and a nice clean fold. So I'll match these up. Just on a couple lines that I know are true on both. Take a couple magnets, stick them together so they're nice and secured. And if you're feeling real worried about them moving around, you can throw another clamp on there, another clamp or two. Make sure they're nice and lined up. These are pretty strong magnets, so these shouldn't go anywhere. I'm not worried about it, so I'm going to take the clamp off. It's going to get in my way. So as you can see, they're matched up pretty nice, but I will be taking a file and just kind of cleaning them up and making sure they're as close to the same as I can get. Of course, not the edges that have extra on them, but all the edges that I have true cut, or true enough cut to a scribe line. And I cut them out with little hand shears for a nice clean cut. I obviously took the bulk of them out with a Beverly shear or a cut-off wheel, or you can use whatever your favorite loud tool is. So that's what I'm going to do. Take it. I'll use a file. My bare hand, no handle. Makes it easy to work those edges down. And I'll also go through with my little deburring tool so that while I'm handling these panels down the road, I'm not tearing my hands up too bad. See, they're pretty well lined up. So when I'm doing this, I like to keep the file as in line with the panels or the edge that I'm filing as possible, so I have as much contact. So I know this file for what we're doing is true and straight. So I'd like to transfer that into the edge. So if I went like this, the file would be waving, and so it'd create waves in the panel or accentuate the existing ones. So keep it nice and flat. We'll take down the highs and leave the lows, and you can see marks on the panel left over from these little teeth in the shears, and so I'll know that it's all nice and straight when I don't see those markings anymore, and the edge is nice and smooth. That looks good enough for our purposes for right now. So file on both of those. Made a little point there. So I'll just take my file, and this part's not super vital. It's just kind of a make it a little nicer than the original. Nice and smooth. Not gonna cut anybody's fingers. Perfect. So I noticed I've got a little dip in there from my shears, big body hammer. Flatten them out, not really necessary, but that's what I'm doing. I'll move on to a different edge. So this one I can't really do what I was doing previously, so I'll do it by eye. If you cut in accurately and lay out accurately, this makes this process a lot faster. Okay. So I'm gonna call that good for now. We can always come back and clean up some more down the line. We won't be able to clamp them together like this, but I cut pretty well close to my scribe marks, so we should be pretty good there. And once again, taking care throughout those steps makes this a lot easier. And if I was just making one, I wouldn't do this. I would just follow my scribe line and make sure the edge was nice and clean. So I will take these apart. These magnets are really strong. Now that they're pretty well true, come back through. These don't feel bad. I've already done this process a little bit before starting to record, but just for posterity. Make sure all those edges are good and clean, so no one's cutting themselves up, no one starts leaking. No one needs that. But that's that. We'll come back and I'll start breaking these. I need to lay out those little triangle dimples. I'll just cut a little line and then I'll fold the brake over and I'll form these little bits in after the bend and after the cut. I'll hammer form those in, pick it up, grind off the excess. You'll see it all. This edge scribed on my panels, so I'll go from this edge, measure over, because I know all that's good and true. So I'm going to measure the total cut, or the diameter of the bead, the conical bead, and then I'll also get how far away from this edge it is. Sitting at, it's a little tricky because there's very rounded corners, but we'll do our best here. A little bit of the guesswork. We're at 2 3/4, and it is, I'll burn an inch, 2 3/4 there. I'll bring this over. We're at about an inch diameter, give or take, probably 7/8 because I was measuring. Excuse me. Just measuring more towards the outside of this because that's where that corner really digs in. So we'll call it an inch 7/8 around there and 2 3/4 from the edge. Here. Scribe. That's all I should need. Mark one out at a time. So this is a line that I couldn't measure, so that's freeform, so I want to try and keep that. Even though it's not, well, we'll get rid of it. Right now I need to remark it out after a cut that kind of dug into the Sharpie. Clean all this off. So we had 2 3/4 from line here, a little scribe line there. Come 2 3/4 over from it. And with these scribe lines being faint, the lighting makes it a little tough, and that battery's dead. I'll be right back. Okay. good and bright. Just one of these. Make it. Easy convert. 2 3/4. Click. There's one. And I have an inch diameter, 7/8. Over to 3 3/4. Why don't buy Harbor Freight tools? I'm down about a quarter inch away from that fold. I'm not super worried about being square. I can also use the other side of the ruler start to know that I'm pretty well square. I'll go from my bend scribe line down here, which starts right about at 2. Oh, what is that? 2 7/8. So I'll go from 2 7/8. I go to 2 6/8. Sorry, 2 5/8. So now I know where to come down to with it. Let's make that a little deeper. That way I have my cone shape. One end, take my scribe, make a nice line to it. Probably not entirely necessary, but gives me a visual. So that's one. That is. This line right there. Obviously we have extra over here, but we need to cut in that. Do it to the other one. Here. This one I did a better layout job on. This was the second one. I made all my mistakes on that one. So this one's a bit cleaner. It'll be a bit easier to work with. I come from this line.